Hello, I'm Na and welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about the affordability or the inaffordability of housing in the United States. Since 2019, the price of housing has gone up 1.5 times the rate of wages, especially for renters. In cities like Boston and Cincinnati, 3 times the rate of their income. So how are people supposed to live?
How is everybody doing with their rent in 2025? I know it's really, really bad out here right now. And unless you're locked and loaded and you had a financial plan and you've been strategic or had a partner that was, mine wasn't so much. It got really bad this year. And I thank all of you guys for rocking with me because, number one, I got cheated on, got put in jail, got told I had to get out of my house that I paid for, okay, and then begged back and everything else. The cheapest places that I have found this year are all roach infested, rug with D addict neighborhoods that they're pulling bodies out of. This is what it's coming down to right now. I mean, okay, I found a house for $1,600, I want to say, and then an apartment, a very, very small apartment for $1,300 that are in good neighborhoods. Equal deposits. It's literally going to cost you $4,000, especially if you have lights, water, or gas to cut on with it. Do you make that much? Do you have that much? My recommendation to anyone right now, don't get caught cheating. Don't split up. Try to find a roommate, and damn sure don't start over in this economy.
Confirm something for you.
Rent, it's too damn high.
So here's what's up, and here's why. The median asking rent in the U.S. surpassed $2,000 for the first time in May. That's up 15% from a year ago, and 30 to almost 50% in some cities. This next stat makes me ill, but the median rent in Manhattan just went up to over $4,000 a month at a time when landlords require a gross income of 3 times the rent. That's a lot of cutting back on avocado toast. So what exactly is going on? Number one, city dwellers like me that left to live with family early in the pandemic are now back and they're looking for places on their own. But inventory is down thanks to a shortage of both materials and workers. It's classic supply and demand. Number two, the housing boom of 2021. It priced out a lot of people and now more are forced to rent. Number three, landlords are now raising the rent significantly following the freezes of the last 2 years. No joke, this is a text from a good friend of mine who just received his new lease. Insane. Number four, in the Sun Belt, where millennials have been flocking, investors and big corporations are buying
almost 30% of the homes that are available for regular home buyers.
And then they're renting them out, and therefore playing a pretty big role in setting these ridiculously high rental prices in places that don't normally have them.
I seen a creator on here talking about people need to stop moving and bouncing around. That's why the rent high. Just renew your lease, like all this other stuff. But let me give you the perspective of a mover, right? I've had 5 apartments in the last 5 years. Let me tell you why. In one of my apartments, my lease was up. They sent me a renewal offer. They said your rent's going up $150. I said, why? Nothing has changed in this place. If anything, it should go down. Like all the damages I've caused in here and my kid. So, but it's going up? They said, yeah, the market, blah, blah. The market? Okay. Do my research. I pull up the website. There's a unit next door available. Same layout, same floor plan, same style. And there's no new renovations. $200 cheaper than what I'm paying currently. Not the new rent. That would have been $350 cheaper. What I have now, it was $200 cheaper than that. But what's the catch? It's for new tenants. New business. Okay. So I try to call them, try to figure this out. Hey, bro, by the way, can I just move in that one? Because I'm going to just move in there. It's $200 cheaper, same floor plan, same everything. We good, right? No, you actually have to pay a $500 transfer fee just to move units. And then on top of that, you don't get that new price, that new rent. That's only for new tenants. Since you're an existing tenant, it would just be the same rent as your other place. Make it make sense. So then I said, you know what? Screw it. We gone. 60 days. Here you go. We out. I checked the apartment website. What do you know? The unit that I'm moving out of is now $200 cheaper for a new tenant. You see how that works? It's not us. It's the apartment complexes. It's the scam that they have going on. But this is the best part. When you pull up a new complex, they will have newer renovations and they'll give you 2 months free just because you're a new tenant moving in. And your rent is going to be cheaper than the last place you stayed at. So while moving costs and all of that sucks, for sure, I hate doing that. In the long run, I have a cheaper place, a nicer place, and 2 months free. So that is why I move around.
These tenants owe their landlords $34,000, but they're not paying.
We are the Bowen Tower Tenant Union.
Say that!
And we are on rent strike.
That's right!
We can't be late on rent. Y'all can't take a short. Y'all need all y'all money. Well, why can't we get everything we was promised? Why can't we get the AC, the heat, and the working tub, and the working kitchen sink? And why can't we get that?
These renters are launching the first rent strike in Raytown, Missouri history, demanding rent caps and permanent repairs. Tenants say that when you can't afford Chicago, you come to Kansas City. When you can't afford Kansas City, you live in Raytown.
This year, Charles Hill and Alta CGHS Real Estate raised my rent $129. If they raise my rent again, I won't be able to afford to live here, and I don't have any place else to go.
We also got mold here too. I don't want to miss that there. And this is our bedroom, so me and him both have asthma, so I'm assuming this is not great for us. This is probably why I keep getting sore throat.
So I got this right here. This water, it just comes up by itself from whatever God knows what apartment. I don't know what that is. I couldn't tell you. They were supposed to have been fixed that 2-3 months ago.
It's like $1,200 and something dollars. The agreed amount was $1,100, and the lady switched it and then forged our name on the lease. You can see it's not even a real signature on the lease.
How much you paying for this? $1,034. If the first come 12 o'clock before the office closed, they're gonna put a letter on your door saying you've been evicted.
Charles Hill, the landlord, initially met with tenants, but now is resorting to intimidation and retaliation.
So I just hired these new police to harass us. They're not policing the area, they're harassing the residents. They didn't even want to let me in last night. I had to show them, look, dude, I got a key lodge.
He has had his staff call the police on us when we protest against these conditions. That ain't right! They have been trying to evict me since February. We are not just numbers on a spreadsheet, we are people. We refuse to let Charles Hill displace us from our homes for your own profit.
So after repeatedly trying to get their basic needs met, these tenants are collectively withholding over $34,000 in rent to force their landlord's hands.
I was able to tell my son, like, hey, this is why we go to those union meetings. This is why we're going out and rallying. This is why we do those things, so we don't have to deal with this.
My father and I have been paying our rent every month. We received a letter saying we owe $1,400. We want to end our rent strike rally today with the following message. We are the Bowen Tower Tenant Union, and we are not afraid.
We know you're unwilling, even though you're able. The strike won't end. So you come to the table.
Maybe a strike is the answer. If tenants get together all over the country and they form renters unions, perhaps people will begin to listen then. It's a very drastic measure, but something's got to give. People can't afford to live this way.
Okay, y'all, bear with me because I had to write something down so I can get my point across clearly and concisely while still being respectful. I just want to talk about what's really happening with rent in the town that I live in. So, I don't know. There's this new landlord group. It's called Pied Piper Realty. They go by PPG. They're a group of investors who've bought over $9 million worth of rental property in this town that I live in. It's basically created a bit of a monopoly with our local rental market. Because of them, some families are seeing their rent go up by even 50%. 30%. So 3 bedrooms that were costing $650 a month are now $1,300 a month in rent. This town's population, the town I live in, is less than 23,000 people. These are not just numbers. This is people actually losing their homes. This is a very serious issue. My family is one of the families that is directly impacted by this. And what's worse is that these families that are on month-to-month leases, like my own, are now being forced to sign new fixed-term leases within 7 days. And these are for properties that need serious repairs and maintenance. The landlord is like making these promises to do light repairs. Included in that description are painting and replacing light fixtures. Not to mention there are many families that have like rodent issues, that have plumbing issues. My house has electrical issues, you name it. With this, they are threatening these families, if they don't comply, to sign that new lease with this increased rental amount within 7 days, that they will be served a 30-day notice to vacate. So these families are literally being strong-armed into a rock and a hard place. Either pay twice what you were paying before, or up to, or get out in 30 days, all while you're trying to send your kids back to school. It's not just unfair, you guys. This is an absolutely unrealistic scenario that we should not be facing. I mean, it's reality, so I guess it's not unrealistic, but it's like unfathomable. But I want to fight for change. I feel like because Illinois does not have a rent control law, there needs to be something changed, because I just don't think that it's appropriate that these kind of actions are legal. I went to my city council meeting last night. Y'all, I'm shook. I don't understand how this is even a thing. People are literally living in fear of being evicted. You have the very real possibility of hundreds of families in my very little town being displaced. What that looks like is single families, so moms and dads who have kids, elderlies or citizens who are disabled who live on fixed incomes like Social Security, and families like my own who happen to be a 2-income family being displaced. I mean, kids living on the streets or in their cars because their families can't afford to pay this ridiculous amount of money.
For 2 of you, your goggles are about to go clear.
This is my problem.
The rest of you will stay locked in the dark.
That's that electric zapper. Hasn't caught a single solitary one of them.
We won.
They all avoid it.
This is what I wanted. I see a village surrounded by water.
This is what I'm having to live with.
We're in the Netherlands.
And the landlord's known about it since the beginning of the year.
You got the windmill, you got the tulips on the table. It is a I've been due for a dub this whole daggum time.
And that's all they get. They don't even get that scared.
Home to over 24 million bikes, 1,000 windmills, and 500...
Who the hell is paying $4,000 a month to live in Nashville, Tennessee? See, Nashville, Tennessee has a whole rental crisis going on. But it's not because there aren't enough apartments. Oh no, it's because they built too many luxury apartment buildings that people cannot afford. Over 10% of rentals are sitting empty. And now landlords are like, oh my God, what do we do? Well, let me tell you why, since rich people can't seem to figure it out. A studio, on average, starting at $1,600. A 1-bedroom, $2,000. 2-bedroom, $2,900. 3 bedrooms, $3,900. In Nashville. Who's running around with $4,000 to just drop on rent every month? See, capitalism will sell you a scam, but act confused when you don't buy into it. Nashville doesn't even have the jobs to justify charging New York City rent. In New York, a 1-bedroom on average is just above $4,000. But Nashville thought, yeah, we can do that too. No, you can't. And this is the kicker. None of these units are actually luxury. Real luxury? We don't even get access to it. What they call luxury is just a dishwasher, a pool nobody uses, and rent that'll have you broke by payday. So as far as I'm concerned, Nashville does not have a rent crisis. Landlords of Nashville have a greed problem. And until they get real about the cost of luxury, those little luxury units are going to stay empty. Who the hell is paying $4,000 a month to live in Nashville?
It was up $200, but they only gave you a 30-cent raise. So in the close of my lease in 2022, my rent was $1,050. For the next year, they brought it up to $1,150. The next year, they brought it up to $1,550. When they asked me to renew it, they brought it up to $1,800. That is a $750 increase from a third renewal period. $750, that's like 70%. The thing about this that hurts so much is that you have an entire system looking you right in the face and telling you they can't do more, while they have absolutely increased their own prices, far outpacing inflation. They have increased all of CEO compensation. They have increased executive compensation. They have done everything that they can to make sure that those in power are going to get theirs. They're going into these meetings and telling you that they've made record profits, but they don't have the money to pay the very people that are building those profits. Looking you in the face and giving you a 30 cent, 50 cent, even a dollar raise. A dollar raise is $160 a month. People's rent payments have gone up $500, $600, $700 across 3 to 4 years. Their grocery payments, if they are, let's just say a two-person family with one kid, their grocery payments alone are like $700 a month to feed a family of 3, and that's doing it really cheap. That's feeding a family of 3 on $21 a day. We are being lied to. We're not being gaslit because we know the difference. It's like somebody with glassy eyes looking right at you and going, no, the sky really is polka dot. And you're like, it's literally not. Why are you even doing this?
I'm realizing my husband and I can never break up because, baby, I don't have any idea how I would be able to afford rent now. I've been living on my own since 2017. Like, I've rented apartments since 2017. And that to me is really not that long ago to be able to say that rent's doubled in some of these apartments. Like, I remember paying maybe $700 in the majority of these apartments, and some of them have already gotten to almost $1,400. How are they justifying that? Like, how are they justifying that big of an increase? Like, they probably haven't been updated since I lived there too. First apartment I ever rented with my friends. We rented it for, I think the cheapest apartment that we could rent was like $790, something like that. And then we got a 2-bedroom, so it was closer to $1,000, but we had 4 roommates. We just divided it amongst all of us, and my rent was like $250. But I remembered that the cheapest one they had was like $790. What is this? What is this increase? That's insane. The cheap rent is almost doubled. And I need to emphasize, this was not in like some crazy rich city. This was in Chesapeake, Virginia, like a very average city. Then I moved because I found a cheaper apartment across town because my first apartment was actually kind of nice. And when we found the cheaper one, it was like maybe $700. This one is $1,035 for the absolute cheapest model. Was not in a crazy good area of town either. Now, this one is insane to me for a few reasons. I need to give context though, because it's going to sound like a good deal anyway. First of all, I lived in this one in 2018, and this ad hasn't been updated since like around 21, so this is only like a 3-year difference. It was also in a completely different city, and this was Petersburg, Virginia. If anyone knows anything about Petersburg, Virginia, it is not a great area to live in, and I lived in one of the more rough apartment complexes in that area. I loved it. Everyone there was really nice to me. I never realized it wasn't a good quality apartment complex until like bugs started happening because my own roommate was so psycho, I never noticed the crazies around me. My rent was like $350 and my other roommate was $350. So our apartment was $700. The absolute cheapest apartment that you can get there, because we didn't even live in the cheapest. We lived in a 2-bedroom. So to get a 1-bedroom is a $200 price increase, which is crazy to me because this is to live in the middle of Petersburg, Virginia, to live in a very rough part of town, to live in a 500 square foot 1-bedroom apartment.
I want to say this housing crisis is affecting all levels of income. Those below the 1%, you know, those 1% people. It's not just those who are on the bottom. So I need you to understand that. It says the average person has to have $117,000 in order to pay their mortgage if they have a home, their food costs, their lighting, gas, etc., their basic needs. $117,000 a year income. Most people don't have that. The average is $50,000. So that is a big discrepancy. If you want to purchase a home, it's even worse. The prices are out of control. They said that on average, the increase is about 70%. There are owners who don't want to sell their home, but they don't want FHA loans. So they require a larger down payment of a conventional loan, such as $75,000. When housing costs are out of control like this, people can't save enough money to purchase a home. So for younger people, the dream of being a homeowner is just out of touch. It's out of reach in this society. And if I don't have hope, what do I have? Also, if I'm paying most of my income in rent and or mortgage, how am I supposed to feed my children and myself? It makes people take drastic measures and have to make decisions that they shouldn't make, such as how much food am I going to purchase this month? Because food costs are going up as well, right? How much medication can we afford? Can we afford to go to the doctor? Those are life and death issues. And we shouldn't have to decide between paying our rent or our mortgage and eating. And then a big thing no one's mentioning is the foreclosure rate. The foreclosure rate has skyrocketed on homes because taxes are going up for people. And even if you have, say, an FHA loan and then you have the brokerage account to pay your taxes, if the money in the account doesn't meet the current tax, there's a deficit. They allow you to pay that deficit just straight out so you'll be even, but they will project for the next time. And so that increases your mortgage payment. And if you can't pay that increased mortgage payment, you lose your home. Or even when you don't have it, what they do is they spread out that deficit, again, increasing your mortgage payment. So what can we do? There's things we can do like, find people who would like to share housing with you. If there's shelters that are partial shelters, there's some for women and children that you pay a small monthly fee. But how can you pay a small monthly fee if you have no money? We have laid off and or fired almost 1 million people. And those who have gotten work only get part-time work or gig work that they can't sustain housing with. If people are over 50, they're just not getting jobs at all. It's a lot to think about. I'm just praying and trying to stay calm and relax and not get my blood pressure up, but trying to survive just like you. Please tell me what you think about this in the comments. And how are you making it? How are you sustaining the rental or mortgage payments you have to make? Thank you for watching. And as always, God bless you and keep the faith.